and it's crazy. I did $93,000 in course signups with my SBA product on one webinar. Hey everybody, so my name is Irene Renee, aka Credit Queen Irene. This is my 5th year preparing taxes professionally, and my first year being a service bureau.
Awesome. So yeah, I was gonna ask, right? Usually, like, what was that path for you? Did you know what a service bureau was before you joined our program? Like, what was that kind of journey like for you?
So when I was first introduced to tax prep, I was introduced to tax preparation by somebody who had a service bureau. I didn't really know how the service bureau stuff worked until my 2nd season though. Mm-hmm. So yeah, 2nd season is like when I figured out, oh, so this is what a service bureau is. This is why she was able to, I think she charged me like $700 to train me how to do taxes. And then she was like, well, your software is free. Da, da. And I was like, oh, okay, free tax software. I'm pretty sure that's expensive, but okay, here we are. So that's how I was originally introduced to the service bureau business model.
Awesome. So what made you interested in looking at our program? You obviously attended one of our presentations. I think somebody referred you to the presentation.
I did. I was referred. And when we were talking about like the numbers, I was like, there is no way that they are offering what I already have at this price. There's no way. And I did I scheduled the call. And then I was like, at first I was kind of skeptical because I'm like, I got to schedule a call. Like I can just watch something and see the breakdown. But no, I scheduled the call and it was like, it honestly felt too good to be true until I actually got like my login credentials once I officially signed up. And I was like, just blown away, like, how?
So you like, hey, for you, it was more of like, hey, the numbers are, I believe them, but I don't believe that this exists. And
yeah, because once what happened was once my contract was up with my original service bureau, I became a service bureau direct with the software provider that I had. And what I was paying was like, oh, this is a lot. So when I got introduced to the Service Bureau Accelerator, and I'm like, so I'm not paying extra for this, and I'm not paying extra for this, and I'm not paying extra for this. And I think I did my call with you, and you were like, no, like this is the fee that you're paying, and that's that. It was just like,
right.
Whoo. So yeah, it just kind of got the wheels turning for me because there was so much that I had wanted to do to expand my business that I felt limited doing before I found Service Bureau Accelerator.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about like your process in packaging your stuff up and what you did before the season even started? So
not last year, but year before last, I had wanted to teach tax prep. Like I wanted to teach other people how to start their own tax preparation businesses. So all of my curriculum and everything I had already had mapped out, but what I had to pay to actually have offices underneath me, it just didn't make sense monetarily for me to hold the course and pay for all of these extra software keys. So I didn't do the course. Like I scratched the whole thing. So when I found the Service Bureau Accelerator, I was like, it's my moment. Like it's my time to shine. So I started marketing my tax prep business training. So basically I will teach you how to prepare taxes, the back end of actually running a tax business. One of the biggest things that I learned when I did the tax prep business training is that preparing taxes and having a tax prep business are 2 very different things. So it's a very, very hard lesson learned. So we know how to make adjustments for this upcoming tax prep business training, but being able to issue the people who took my course their own tax software without tacking on these extra fees, like really helped me be able to scale my class the way that I wanted to.
Awesome. Did you get any value from any of the trainings that we provide, like on the sales process? Because you did kind of the webinar model, which is like the presentation and all that.
Yeah, definitely the webinar model. Because and it's crazy. I did $93,000 in course signups with my SBA product on one webinar.
Dumb.
Like, I only had the webinar one time, and it was so crazy because I use Zoom, but I don't really use Zoom. I didn't know I should have did a webinar. I mean, I should have did Zoom webinar and not Zoom meeting, but you know, Zoom meeting, you can only have 100 people on there. So I literally had people that were DMing me like, Irene, I'm trying to get in and this thing is full. So I feel like I probably would have did even more than that if I would have did the Zoom webinar instead of the meeting. But again, lesson learned because it was my first time, but $93,000 off of one course just to sell, just sales. So just selling my tax prep course, we did 93K.
And that's a testament to you, because a lot of it doesn't happen overnight. You built a brand over the years, right? So you had a list, you had stuff, and it's really just the opportunity of, hey, I'm not getting nickeled and dimed here. I can put together what I want, give the customer a real opportunity, and not be limited by the standard industry norms out there.
Yep. So, and it's crazy because there was the class was really like for beginners, but there were a lot of people who were experienced tax prep, like experienced tax preparers, that I was able to be like, hey, look, I'm doing this tax prep course. It's including software. I can beat your service bureau fees. Like, you were with the service bureau I was with, and I know what I was paying. Let's make this transition. So it was a lot of people who like were experienced preparers that saw what I was charging for class, saw what I was offering, and they were mind blown. Like the way that I was mind blown when I found out about SBA, they had the same reaction when I told them, like, this is what I'm charging for class, this is what's included, and then this is what your back end is going to look like during the season.
I want to touch a little bit on the training. Was there any specific training that you saw from us that you're like, hey, I took this little nugget and it worked for me? Or if not, then that's fine.
Definitely putting together my webinar, because I personally don't like doing webinars. And I think it's mainly because I kind of struggle with the flow and what I need to include. So the webinar training helped tremendously. A lot that was in the SBA training was like the tax prep training, but I had already had that. And the software I'd used the same software for the past 4 seasons prior to that. So I think if I would have been somebody that was new to the software, I would have been able to like, oh, you know, we got all these trainings for all this other stuff. But a lot of the stuff that was in the SBA, I had already kind of knew, but it was just because I've been preparing taxes for 5 years. Yeah.
Right. And I think for your next step, your next evolution, there's a whole training on how to run Facebook ads for your webinar there that you probably didn't do.
Yeah, I did not. I did not at all. So it's a lot. It's a lot that I didn't know, even with doing the numbers that I did. It's a lot that I didn't know doing that first class that I know now. But that's how it's supposed to be. Like, anytime you do any courses or any trainings or anything, like, you're not gonna know everything this one time. The money or the end goal really comes with being able to get your foundation together. Like, hey, this is what I'm starting with, and being able to just build on that. So there's so much that like I'm adding and adjusting for this upcoming class. But I'm very optimistic about this year.
So what are some of the things that you personally are excited about for the next season, or things that you look back at, you're like, hey, I sucked at this, or I could make this 10 times better? Like, what are some of those kinds of things? Starting
marketing earlier. I didn't start marketing my class until October. So definitely start marketing earlier. Doing paid advertising, like definitely I want to run Facebook ads probably starting in the summer, and maybe offering like a early registration for like maybe like an early bird discount. So definitely doing that. My course also included like a private group. So I have a mobile app where my online community and my courses are being held. So having people helping me manage the inner circle.
We have a Facebook group and a community.
We do.
Do you find any of that valuable, or any nuggets or anything? Do you enjoy?
Oh yeah, I be in there all the time. Like I'll see people ask questions that like I didn't even know I had questions about.
Right.
And they'd be like, oh, okay. And then I just get to scrolling through the answers, and being that I've been preparing taxes for 5 years. If it's anything in there that I feel like I can answer when I see people post it, I would go in there and try to help them out. Only thing about like the communities is I go down like a rabbit hole. Like, oh, I came in here go all these questions, and now I'm in here for 2 hours reading questions, answering questions.
All right, a couple of more things. So 93,000 in sales off one webinar, plus your service bureau fees and all that stuff that's coming in. You've crossed the 6-figure service bureau mark in technically 1 year.
Yeah.
What are your goals for next year revenue wise?
I want to triple what I did this year.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's going to be simple for you. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be simple, but it's going to be simple because all you need is consistency on the outbound.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you already have a
plan. Because like, I feel like my foundation is already done. So it's like, I can definitely triple this, and I know what I need to do to get there. So
yeah, if you launch in, I guess this will be public. If you launch in June or like May, June, you should be able to triple what you did by September.
Yeah, I'm confident that I can.
There's a little tweaks on the post webinar sale and adjusting there, and you're good. You're good.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Don't worry, I'm gonna be harassing you. Like, what I gotta do?
Yep, for sure. All right, one final thing, and we'll wrap it up. Any feedback or comments you would give to somebody that's looking at joining the Service Bureau Accelerator?
Be intentional about signing up. Like, I think a lot of times when people sign up for any programs, they don't understand that the information is there, and you have to be willing and set the time aside to go through the information to get to where you want to be. Like, one of the downsides of any communities with any classes is you get to see people asking questions, and it's like, there's no way in hell you actually went through the information that was provided to you and you didn't have that answer, or you still have this question. And you really do yourself a disservice, like relying solely on the community because you want to skim through information, when it's like, you really could have mastered this and been good to go and had other problems or other questions than you skimming through the information and shortchanging yourself. Because essentially that's what you're doing. Like,
right.
You paid for this information, so why not actually access it and use it?
That's coming from somebody that's got a lot of people in her course and realizes that struggle. No, for sure. And that happens with everything. Like, there's you'll be surprised. Like, you went and sold 93,000, right? I don't know what the ticket was, but I'm sure it wasn't cheap, right? Whatever it was, say it was $1,000 hypothetically, right? Say you had somebody pay you $1,000 and they did nothing with it, right? That's going to happen in any business, which is why a lot of our focus in the Service Bureau Accelerator is, don't rely on one client. Don't rely on 5 clients.
Yep.
Let's get you to 100. Let's get you to 500, right? Because 1 or 2 is not going to, if you lose a couple, it's not going to make a difference. But if you rely, I think a lot of people, when they look at the opportunity, they get a bit scared and they're like, hey, I just want 5 people. And they're like, oh, if it's not much more to support 50 than 5 in the grand scheme of things.